Hey guys, Justin here with Rampengu Nation, and I just got back from vacation. So I figured that I would do more Drytron content for you guys. I had a lot of questions, people like DMing me and asking on my deck profile that I made like a few days ago, the in-depth one, what Alpha Zeta basically ended on in my build. So I'm gonna go over that, and then I'm gonna go over like the utility of the Magikey card, like that combo, the 2.5 card combo. I call it 2.5 because so many of the pieces are redundant in the deck, but technically, yes, it is a three card combo. But yeah, this will also showcase why I chose to play Mirage Lights and why I never really typically needed IP in my build. So let's get right into it. This is typically what just Alpha Zeta. So let's say my hand was like Alpha Zeta triple droplet. This is what I would like typically end on. So everybody knows the drill at this point. We go Alpha Tribute Zeta, and then Resolve Alpha at Benton. Then we go Zeta Tribute Benton. Makes sense. Add our Medionis, and then Benton will trigger and add our Vandy's ruler. I'm gonna do another video after this one, probably like the next couple days, of how you can play around hand traps, especially like on Mubeta, because obviously you guys know if you make Mubeta here and then it gets hit by a hand trap, it's gonna just struggle. So I'm gonna just say you can just search Diviner in this spot instead. So um yeah. So but typically this is just like the standard combo of what I'm doing. So we're gonna use Mubeta Effect here, and then we're gonna dump Gamma. Then we're gonna use Medionis, detach one, revive Benton. Technically it's good play to always detach Zeta because Zeta is like the most useless one after you get Medionis out your deck. But you know, I was just playing kind of quickly here. We're going to use Medionis back to hand, reduce the Mubeta. And then we're going to Gamma on the Benton, revive the two Drytrons. Now we're going to add Lancia here. I like to typically search Lancia first because I'll always shotgun Lancia within like the draw phase or standby phase for multiple reasons. Going blind into game one, you might not know what like your opponent is playing, but that's like typically fine. Oops, my little Rampengu decided to drift downwards. Let me just move that upwards. There you go. Anyway, yes. Typically, blinding Lancia game one is actually really good still. So I do it in standby phase to play around allures and pots. So Pot of Prosperity, Pot of Desires, Allure of Darkness. All those cards that like typically plays around. Also, it kind of like hurts Flunder a lot because if they have to use Advent and like in response to the Lancia, they're gonna neg one essentially because you're losing two cards for one. Um, and yeah, like I said, it just plays around all those other stuff. Also, like indirectly, it plays around talents. So I always typically search Lancia. So you're gonna be like, well, Lancia's not that good this meta. Well, technically, kind of is because against Despia, they can't kill you with the Albion plate if you Lancia them. Against what is it? Despia, yeah, it also shuts off their alerts. Against Sword Soul, it's really good because Sword Soul's board becomes way easier to like predict what they're gonna do if they can't use their 10E cards and if they can't use Taie. So it's really good. So if you go second against Sword Soul, you can't kill them. Typically, you'd want to set up a Zeus Lancia play because they can't use their 10Es on their second turn, which will be the third turn of the game, because your Lancia shuts off all that. Top deck pots are dead, and then your Zeus can trade either with their long end play or their Moe play. If you check out my third, fourth place playoff feature match, you can see how I did this like pretty well game two against my opponent. But yes, so we search Lancia as the first card. Then we are going to use our Medionis. Medionis is going to revive our Benton. And then we're going to tribute off the two like excess cards. You technically don't have to tribute Mubeta because you can use it to make the Mirage with one of the other guys. But it's just good habit instead because then you can make a rank on with these. So anyway, I just put the ruler here. You know, plays around Geonator and it plays around Anima. So, you know, like kind of like whatever. It's just good to play correctly because who knows? Like they could drop at you, Geonator, take your ruler, and you just kind of auto lose to that. So funny enough. So now your Benton's gonna trigger here. I typically like to grab orange. So this is where like the debate like could kind of happen. Your second fairy does not really matter that much because orange is technically the worst one in the deck, so it's the one I wouldn't want to top deck. Diviner gives me a play the next turn because if I top deck Diviner, I can still get a ritual and get the play for the Drytron. If I go for another Benton, that's bad because I don't ever want to pitch the Benton for Mirage. You can go for Natasha and stuff like that, but typically those cards are good to top deck because you can just play the next turn by tributing them off for the Drytrons you already have in grave. So then now you typically just want to turn those two into a Mirage. So this is like a pseudo lock, like I said. This is what I typically handle with just Alpha Zeta, but this is like good enough. Mirage is like super clean because yes, it doesn't stop like Droplet, but it hits like Imperm Storm, Mine, Chalice, all those other cards. I know it doesn't stop like Droplet Dark Ruler, but that's totally fine. That's the whole reason why I play the Magikey cards, is to cover those. But Mirage just like will trade off with the brick card in your hand, which is the orange light, and then you get to hit a dude. But if he dies, you get add back basically Benton Medionis back to your hand for the follow up, and then you just basically kill them the next turn with Natasha. So this is why I think this card is like infinitely better than IP, because it actually just like floats. So that's really good. Typically they go normal beat over this, like that's fine, like I said, because you get the follow up. Whereas like IP would do like absolutely nothing in this spot. And then the other consideration you can go for instead was the Fucho to play around if they like droplet your ruler, because they can't kill you through the Fucho. But I typically realize like a lot of decks struggle to kill you through the Lancia, unless specifically it's the mirror match, which then like sucks to suck, I guess, because they would need droplet to deal with this or so. Like this also is nice that it outs mine as well. But like I said, if you have any additional fair in your hand, this typical Alpha Zeta play covers like every deck in the meta, because against Flounderies, if you like Lancia them and like draw Fizz, like I'm saying, they cannot use like their Pot of Prosperity or like Extrav if they play those, and it shuts off map as well, which is like typically really good. But then if you have the orange with the additional fairy, like that's just game, because you can just hit the Robina. The only way they can effectively play around that is if they go like Chain, Advent in response to Lancia, Banish, add guy, go Robina, add back guy. But you just hit the second dude anyway, because they would need to have, they can't like extend it with another normal summon because you shut off map. So they just typically just lose the game at that point, and the next thing you just kill them. So yeah, because like even if they go like normal statue, you're like, okay, that's fine. Like I got ruler to beat over that. So they would need like a whole combination of stuff to beat you. They would need like call by for the Lancia, and then they would need to play through the orange, and then they would need to trade through the Mirage. So it's like a lot of stuff against Flu. But yes, this is why, like I said, this is the typical best M board that you can make, because it beats everything like blinded game one the best. Obviously ruler is bad against Flu, but that's why I was saying like research the Lancia and have the orange to follow up with. So this is like typically Alpha Z. Yes, this board loses to Droplet, but again, you can't do Beta Buster with just 2 cards. So I'll go over like the Beta Buster play and what I'm gonna say. Okay. So, oh my gosh, this thing just keeps popping up every time. I don't know why. I saw like D-Regrind had the same issue as a Sword Soul game, and I just thought it was kind of funny. Anyway, so this is like the 2.5 card combo, because there's a lot of cards you can have instead of each other piece. Like obviously like Emergency, Nova, Prep, could be Benton. You could just have Meta Buster instead. It could be like Ritual Sanctuary spell card. It could be like a lot of stuff. As long as like you have a way to get the other ritual guy, it's like you can get it all basically. So if we typically start off our play, we would go Alpha Tribute Zeta. Zeta is gonna add, well, we're gonna add Meta Buster here, right? And then we're gonna tribute the Benton that we already have, and then we're gonna search for our Medionis, and then Benton's gonna trigger, and we're gonna search for Vanity's ruler. This is kind of clean too, because indirectly this plays around like a hand trap on your Mubeta, because then you can go Medionis, tribute Beta Buster from your hand, revive the Benton, and then you can just tribute off those 2 guys for the ruler anyway. So like this one doesn't care about too much if your Mubeta gets hand trapped. It just cares about only if it gets like Gamma, which is, well, it sucks to suck, I guess. But you're gonna turn these 2 now into Mubeta. Mubeta's effect's gonna trigger. You're gonna dump Gamma. You're gonna ritual spell here, tribute the Mubeta, then you're gonna revive the Benton. I like to do it this way because then you're gonna have like everything at the end. So now you're gonna Medionis, add back on the Mubeta, and I made a slight misclick here. I didn't mean to tribute the Benton. You're gonna keep the Benton on the field actually. So now you're gonna tribute the Beta Buster from your hand, and then you're gonna revive Gamma and additional dude. Something you should note is that like you can't just go like Medionis tribute Beta Buster summon back itself, because it's not like in the original point of origin where you were gonna ritual summon it from, which was your like hand. Also, you can't use something for itself as a material to summon itself. Like, I don't know if you guys like played back in like 2019, 18ish. Like, you couldn't use like Thunder Dragon Fusion, Shuffle back Titan, summon back that same exact Titan because you can't use something first level. People would do Shuffle like back Titan because they would have another Titan in their extra deck. But yeah, that's why like that's like very relevant. It's also very relevant with Despia as well, because that's why people were playing 2 Jades, because if your Jade's gone, you can't go like Lubelia and shuffle back like Alba's Jade and summon back that same Jade. You would need a second copy because you can't fuse with itself to make itself. So yeah, just a little tidbit on that. So now we're just gonna use this to get rid of the second material to bring back the Beta Buster, and as you can see, like we have everything lined up as we want it. So now we're gonna just tribute Ben 10 Beta, summon out Ruler. Ben 10's gonna search. This is typically where you can search like any of the other fairies you want, but like I said, Lancia is the best one in the blind, because if you have like Lancia unlocking, you kind of win. But like you can choose to just play around 2 negates on the Ruler, by just keeping unlocking and then going from Mirage and adding like the orange here instead. The issue I have with that is that play is like very bad against Fluandries, so I typically just like searching Lancia. If you're really that fearful of like losing to like Droplet Pitch Trap like a monster or so, you could just make Fucho instead of the Gamma Zeta to play around not dying. But typically you just want to go for Mirage, because if Mirage dies, then you can add back the Ben 10 Medionis, like I said, for tremendous follow-up, which at that point you just like win the game because you have the follow-up. So typically this is like an FTK board against most decks except obviously like Fluandries, but like that's where the Lancia like crutches it and helps you wins. Unlocking trades with the Droplet or Dark Ruler, and then you have Lancia. If you have any other fairy in your hand, like typically that's why Ritual Sanctuary is really good in my build too, because a lot of times when you go first, mine and Droplets are dead, so you can just go Ritual Sanctuary, and then you can pitch one of the dead spells, and you can grab like either Idota, Natasha, or like any of the fairies for your Mirage, because then that beats like Imperm Dark Ruler, or like Chalice Droplet, or it beats like Storm guy, or like mine dude. Obviously you can't beat like double Droplet or double Dark Ruler with that, but it's like you're making your board like the best possible way not to losing it, because they still have to play it, like I said, through Lancia. So hopefully like this was very informative of like how I played the deck and why I thought Mirage Lights was so much infinitely better than IP. Like I said, like yes, IP would be like okay here to use the Meta Buster after the Unicorn, but again that's unnecessary because you have Vanity earlier. Yeah, leave a like, subscribe. I'm gonna do a lot more Drytron content. I have like other decks I want to show off on the channel. If you have any other questions, or if you want other specific stuff, just comment below. Like I said, I made this video because a lot of people were asking me like, what do you do in typically comboing in the deck? So this is Justin with Rampengu Nation, and see you guys.